Okay, we're at the stage where our milk, our sugar, and our butter are all dissolved and just about ready to come to a boil here. And this is where all the magic will start happening. So as soon as we start to get a boil, then I'll add the candidate thermometer, and it'll take approximately 15 minutes to bring it up to temperature. We're going to 238 degrees. And it will change consistency quite a lot in that period of time, so I'll let the tape run and you can see how it's going to change. We're pretty liquefied right now. That's pretty liquidy. As we get near the end, it'll thicken up quite a lot. We'll be going to softball stage. Just now coming to a light boil. Once we are at full boil here, then we got to constantly stir it up like this, not getting crazy, but keeping it moving so we don't get hot spots or burns. We don't want to get a burnt taste. And here it comes. Now when it's time to put in the thermometer, you don't want to just plunge it in there. We'll take it in a couple times and let that come up. Get the mercury climbing up in the thermometer. And then we can just put this on the side of the pan. Okay, keep that in the corner. Just stir and just be careful not to bang against your thermometer. If you don't use a candy thermometer, you can time it from the time it did start boiling. If you go 15 minutes, you're usually in the ballpark. I really prefer the thermometer. It's a lot more accurate, and you'll get a consistent product every time, where if you're not using the actual thermometer, it's kind of a guessing game. And candy making is a science. There's definitely a lot of things happening. And the more times you do this, you'll start to recognize, just from the bubbles in the sugar mixture, when your temperature is getting close. You'll start to recognize the texture of the product, things like that. So if you're a beginner, it doesn't take long to pick up this craft. And like I said before, it's a lot of fun. I enjoy making candy. Just gentle stir so we don't get spattered. I could probably sing Christmas carols or something to make the time go faster, but that would not be entertaining. Singing's not my strong suit. Kind of surprised the dogs haven't barked yet. Probably will be shortly. Okay, so that's about 5 minutes in. The texture's starting to change a little bit, but we still have a lot of liquid in here. We'll probably cook off about a quarter of this liquid by the time we get to the point we want. The moisture keeps going out of it. That's when the temperature starts to rise. You kind of watch that hole I got in that spoon. You'll get thicker and thicker as I start thickening up. As I go across with the spoon like that, you'll see it pushing through that hole. And that's about the right amount of boil you want. Like I say, we're still at medium heat. I haven't changed the temperature from when I started. I started right dead center medium heat, and keep that same temperature through the whole process. It seems like it starts slow, but that's plenty of heat once you get going and you don't run or risk burning anything. Too expensive to throw things away. Got a lot of sugar and milk and chocolate, so we want all this to turn out to be delicious. And we're about halfway in. You've really got to get down to see a candy thermometer. We're just over 220 right now. A little higher, about 225 is where we're at. Once we get up in the 238 range, that's where a thermometer is very, very helpful, because as the moisture gets cooked off, the temperature starts to increase quicker and quicker. And without the thermometer, it's always a guessing game. At this stage of the game, it's kind of slow going. We are starting to thicken up. See it pushing through the spoon more now. But it's definitely a product that you can't walk away from. If you're going to make candy, you're tied down. So if you decide you're going to make fudge, just block off a half hour to get her done. You can't leave. Doorbell rings, somebody's going to have to wait or you'll ruin your product. So. And I would suggest even not being talking on the phone or anything like everybody does nowadays, but don't get distracted. It's dangerous. You do not want to get burnt. And it's coming along nicely. Looking really good. We don't have any hot spots. Color's looking good. Starting to caramelize a little bit. Looking very nice. And that's 10 minutes in. So in the next 5 minutes or so, we'll probably be bringing it off to heat. And it actually does cool down quite quickly. Once we get it off and we start adding all these cool items, it changes the temper drastically. So we'll go from our 238 and we'll probably be down to around 120 when we put it in the pan. So the chocolate, it needs all the heat to melt the chocolate. So once we get the chocolate totally melted, it doesn't take as much heat for the marshmallow. But you still got to keep moving. Yeah, we're about 228 right now, so about another 10 degrees, which should go pretty quickly here in the next 4 minutes. And once we hit temperature, I'll just pull the thermometer out and get it out of the way. Set it on the stove. Let that cool down before you rinse or anything. Don't just stick that into some water or anything like that. You might break it and ruin its accuracy. You don't want to do anything to jeopardize your thermometer. And you can test your thermometer by just boiling some water, of course, putting it in, see if it registers boiling temp. If it's off one way or the other, you can always just still use the thermometer, just adjust accordingly. So. This thermometer and I have been together for quite a while. Probably had the same one for 15 years. And the pan I usually keep for only candy making. I bought them in a food warehouse in town here. It's a good place to buy pots and pans because they're restaurant quality and cheaper than a store. I mean, cheaper than Walmart for the quality. I think I paid like 24 bucks for this pan 8 or 10 years ago. You're not going to wear it out. Very consistent heat. Nice rubber grips so it won't get hot. I used the smaller burner today trying to get everything into the video, so normally I would have been on the bigger burner in the back. which might have helped heat up a little bit quicker, but this is going to work. You can see the consistency now. I'm not blocking the view there. Now it's pushing through that center part of the spoon. Building a little elasticity here. About 4 or 5 degrees away here. Definitely thickening up. Okay, and it's been 15 minutes, so we're probably pretty close here. Another 2 minutes here maybe. So that's a good example where the time system doesn't work. Today we're a little cool, so 15 minutes we would have been a little softer, which means the fudge probably wouldn't get quite as firm. It's still a very creamy fudge at 238, but 234 it might not have been quite there. And that's always going to vary too on your stove burners. Typically I'm on the opposite side on a bigger burner. Smaller burner might be giving off a little less heat, so it'll take a little bit longer to get the temperature up. It's getting really close though. Thick, bubbly. And we just passed that stage. Softball is within reach here. It's looking really good. I like where we're at. Alright, we're there. That was about 17 minutes. Thermometer out, set it out away. Just a couple more stirs here, bring out the heat. And now we bring in the chocolate. Just kind of pour it in, let it start melting away. Keep stirring. A little bit of time, let it melt in. So far so good, everything's looking great. Just get nice and creamy. Looks great. If it crystallizes right here, that's when you got problems. So far everything's looking lovely. Just turn around here and get all the corners of the milk stirred in. Put in the marshmallow cream, and that's got our vanilla in there also, and our almond extract. Spoon. Not too big a hurry here right now. I'm letting it cool a little bit more. Turn in that extract. Okay, you gotta move back there, buddy. Got the dog at my feet. Alright, now we'll fold that in there. see that very good. I'm going to get a little more aggressive here in a second. Now I'm actually turning this up down to one end. I'm going to stir it like I'm starting to get a shine to it. That's what I want. Shine in there. That's the look we're going for. Like that. That's looking good. Now we put in our marshmallows. And we'll let them fully melt in here, I think, today. So if you want to leave chunks of marshmallow in there, you could. Just don't stir them in the wrong. I'm going to let them totally dissolve in there. It'll make a creamy fudge.